Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the town board meeting tonight, September 13th, 2023. Call this meeting to order. We're going to start by asking Councilman Ross to please the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can have a moment of silence on this past Monday. We commemorated the 22nd anniversary of the attack upon the World Trade Center, the loss of almost 3,000 lives. We can have a moment of silence in remembrance. Thank you, everybody. I'll ask our clerk to record the attendance.
Councilman Rosman?
Good.
Deputy Supervisor Charles? Here. Councilman Warner? Councilman Wise-Wendell?
There, thank you. We're going to start with public participation. Now, we have tonight, in addition to normal public participation, we do have two public hearings, one on the Fountainview application and one on the Miller's Pond application. So what we're doing now is we're opening up for general participation about any subject. If you wish to speak specifically about Miller's Pond or Fountainview, those will be coming up after this. So we'll open up for public participation. As always, we ask that you give us your name and address. Keep your comments to 3 minutes in duration. Anybody wish to speak at this time?
I just want to clarify, if you want to speak on the Miller's Pond, we'll have a certain time later, or?
I just said that right after we do this public participation, we'll have two public hearings, one on Fountainview, one on Miller's Pond, and everybody will get a chance to speak on each. Okay, it appears that there's nobody in the public. Yes, you wish to speak? No, we're not there yet. We're doing this general public participation.
Motion to close.
Motion to close. Deputy Supervisor Charles, seconded by Councilman Ross. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried by a vote of 4-0. Now we're going on to our public hearings. First public hearing is on the application for a special use permit by Fountainview and College Road. We have Fountainview here with their representatives, and we'll ask them to address the board, and then we'll open up the public hearing.
I'm not sure how you want this done. Do you just want me to explain to the public basically what we explained last time?
Just a brief recap, exactly.
Okay, I represent the Fountainview. This is part, for the public, this is one of 3 parts of the application process that Fountainview is engaged in to get permission to build a nursing home facility as part of the Fountainview campus. It's important to note that the Fountainview operation will not change in any way, shape, or form. That operation will be a standalone congregate care facility. This application is to build an adjoining nursing home facility on the same campus. As indicated at the other, this is one of 3 parts. We are also before the planning board where we are pursuing the site plan application. As a result of some dimensional issues, we're going to have to go through the zoning board of appeals, and the process before this particular board is to get a special use permit, which is independent but related to the planning process. As I indicated, the plan is to build a nursing facility to basically become what is now Northern Metropolitan Nursing Home Facility. That operation will move to the new campus. The facility is going to be principally built a footprint on that side of the Fountainview campus, which is closest to the New York State Thruway. Access will be from the through the Fountainview property, and there will be little to no effect on any surrounding properties. If the public has any questions, we'll be glad to do our best to try to assist. To try to answer them with me is Joe Nightshade from Brooklyn Engineering, who is the principal engineer on the project.
Thank you very much, Mr. Haskell. I'll turn to our attorney, Ms. Neely, be able to come forward with the public hearing.
Yes, I have here the public hearing notice, the application posting, the order confirmation, application, the 500-foot neighbor list submitted by the applicant's affidavit of notification mailing, and the applicant's affidavit of posting.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open this up to public comment on this application. That will be College Road. Mr. Romanowski.
Robert Romanowski, 183 Maple Avenue, Muncie. I do have one question. I saw they're moving the northern metropolitan up to here at Fountainview. What do they plan on doing with the current building that is on Maple Avenue once they move the nursing home to behind the Fountainview? What's going to happen with that building?
Thank you. Mr. Haskell, do you want to respond?
One of the main reasons, if not the main reason for this move, is that building on Maple Avenue is not owned by the Northern Group. So I cannot answer what is going to happen to that building, other than to say it's going to revert to its owner.
Thank you, Mr. Haskell. Anybody else wish to speak, Mr. Levine?
So first of all, I have no problem.
Bruce,
I'm sorry.
You all know who you are, and you know it.
Bad habits, bad. Bruce Levine, 9 Brotherhood Road, Monticello, New York, 10901. Okay, so I pretty have one question. And first I want to say that I support this. It's a sensible way of making sure that care is available and actually probably create a lot of flexibility for the service providers. I have one comment question. Many years ago, when I was a lot younger, and I was on the Rockland County legislature, I and my colleagues, but I created a program at Northern Metropolitan. It was a kosher adult medical daycare center. There was another adult medical daycare center in another location. I want to say the college, but I don't remember. And which is true in many ways. We created that program alongside of the one that we were creating for secular people, because there were people who needed kosher food. It so happens that somebody who's within a couple of blocks of mine was working there at that thing, and it's continued to this day. So it's something like 40 years, probably now, I'm getting old, 30 years. And I want to make sure that that project continues. If it's advisable, perhaps it can be expanded, and I want to make sure there's enough space for it and that it's properly managed. So that's my question for the applicants.
Thank you, Mr. Levine.
I'm not sure if I could answer that question other than to say that it is the intent of the northern people to provide the same services at the new facility as are being provided at the current Northern Metropolitan. If you want, I'll give you my contact information, and if you want me to get a specific answer to a specific question as to whether a specific program is going to be moved, I'll be glad to do it. I'm not prepared at this time.
That's good. You're not finishing, correct?
Finishing.
This one process.
I don't know what the board is going to do, but the process will continue at the planning board at the very least.
Thank you, Mr. Haskell. Does anybody else in the public wish to speak?
Very quickly, I do. You guys can put it as condition.
Thank you, Mr. Levine. Anybody else wish to speak? There's nobody. Motion by Deputy Supervisor Charles to close the public hearing. Second to Councilman Rossman. Ms. Wheelie, I believe we're waiting for the planning board to make a determination pursuant to SIGBA in this.
That's correct.
So at this time, we can't take any action. We'll do a motion to reserve decision pending the planning board's action.
Yes.
So we have a motion to that effect by Deputy Supervisor Charles to reserve decision to a later date. Second to Councilman Rossman. All in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. Thank you. We'll go to item B, which is a public hearing on Miller's Pond. I'll ask you again to immediately read the notices into the record.
So we have the public hearing notice, the affidavit of posting, the affidavit of publication, the 500-foot neighbor list submitted by the applicant's affidavit of notification mailing, the applicant's affidavit of posting, the notice of the public hearing to involve the interested agencies. Ramapo County did request an additional 30 days for their GML review. That is included in the packet, and that request was granted for an additional 30 days. That is in there as well. You ready for this?
Thank you very much. So at this time, I'll call upon the applicant's representative, Mr. Russo, to address us.
Good evening, Daniel Russo, White Mountain, Montana, representing Mount Ivy LLC and Linda Pomona LP, petitioners for this PUD amendment. Tonight we're here to begin the formal public comment period on the first planned unit development under the Northeast Development Plan, GEIS, and zoning amendments. This is continuing what is a multi-year process by the town board in looking at opportunities for increased housing development in the Northeast corridor. Since January, as you were aware, we've been working with CRDC on analysis of our proposed local law and the Miller's Pond PUD plan. Those are the zoning elements that in a PUD process become the binding zoning requirements for the site if approved by the town board. I'd like to just start very quickly, though. I'm going to turn things over to our lead planner, Bonnie Olson from Kimberly Moore, to just walk you through a couple of the plans, at least for the public, that may not have seen them before. But what I wanted to note is in your local law in adopting the flexible overlay PUD, or now called Planned Unit Development District law, you made this statement regarding the purpose of the legislation, and I quote, "The intent of enacting this local law and related PUD provisions is to minimize the negative impacts associated with suburban sprawl as noted in the town's comprehensive plan 2004's amendment. Planned unit development is intended to allow flexibility in planning and designing land development proposals. This flexibility often improves in the form of relief from compliance with conventional zoning, site, and design requirements. Ideally, this flexibility results in a development that is planned and designed as an integrated land use that makes more efficient use of land while reducing disturbance and avoiding environmentally sensitive areas on the site, resulting in a development that contains more amenities, shares common infrastructure that can be operated and maintained effectively and efficiently, and which is more desirable to live in than one produced in accordance with typical zoning ordinance and subdivision controls." That statement of purpose is fully consistent with the New York State Department of State guidance on PUDs, which indeed encourages municipalities to consider use of this flexible tool because it can be adapted to particular sites. And that's exactly what you did in the Northeast Corridor planning, is identify 4 sites where this could be applied. We think that the objectives of your intent and the guidance provided by DOS, the State Department of State, achieves the kind of integrated use that and respects the land that it's on in a way that is consistent with your objectives. Let me turn things over to Bonnie to just walk quickly through, identify the plans. All of our documentation, all of our discussions with CRDC are in on the town's website, the first page. You can get the link to that, thanks to Harry over here. So that if any questions come up or people want to see what was said when and the evolution of the proposal, you can find it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Russo.
Good evening, everyone. Von Olson, Kinley Horn. We are the planners, civil engineers, concept architects, traffic engineers on the project. Working with the town and the applicant for quite some time now on this. As Mr. Russo stated, most of the documents, as all of the documents that have been submitted, are on the project's website.
including the local law itself, and the plan set that accompanies that, and the environmental documentation as well. The plan set is, preliminary plan set is 10 sheets, along with the EAF 43 report and all the technical reports, such as hydrogeology, species studies, traffic, trees, soils, all of that. So as you can see, we have two boards showing the plan. The first, the illustrative plan, which is a green board on the left, shows the full build out. They both show the full build out, but the board on the right is more of a technical drawing. That's the PUD concept plan that's actually attached to the law, and that's demonstrating the different units by unit type. It has the road cross sections on there. It has the bulk table on there. So if there's one sheet that has really all the pertinent information related to the proposed law, it's that sheet. So I'll walk through the plan. For those who are not familiar, the Municipal Golf Course is on the road. On the road is the road on the south at the bottom of the drawing. Hill Road is on the left, or the west side, and Station Road is on the east. And those are the three public roads that frontage, the site has frontage on. And there is proposed to be a road access from each of those points. The one on Pomona Road is exactly as is now where the courthouse entry drive is, right opposite 7th Park. You can also see on the plan the green areas. There's a perimeter buffer that's intended to be vegetated all the way around the site, and the darker green area in the center of the site is a state regulated wetland, which all the regulated wetlands and the buffers are also supposed to remain in open space. So one of the important goals of the project is the open space preservation, the perimeter buffer, and also keeping the clubhouse, which will be adapted when used. The clubhouse is visible from one road as you drive along. The residential that's proposed is a variety of housing, both multifamily townhomes and rental apartments. As far as the total counts in the full build out, 102 apartments and 545 multifamily townhomes for a total of 647. There are 6 different unit types as described in the townhomes, and also in the materials that are on the website. There are illustrations of those to show the character of what's proposed. As far as non-residential, an important feature of this site or this site plan is to have a small village center. The clubhouse would be supplemented by 2 other new buildings, and which they would also surround the village green, and that's the lower left corner of the plan. One of the buildings is the one directly opposite the clubhouse is a single-story mixed-use building. The larger brown building that you see there is intended to be 4 levels. There's apartments on the upper 3 levels and a street level mixed-use commercial retail uses have not been determined yet. But the total for all 3 of those buildings, non-residential, is 67,000 square feet. The existing ponds are shown in the plan in blue, and proposed stormwater management features in the darker green. There are also a system of roads proposed. As I described, there are 3 access points, and then internally there are 3 road types proposed as well. A main road, which will have a wider travel way plus parking on both sides and sidewalks throughout, and then a smaller local street, and then a laneway, which is really just a driveway that provides access to the rear of some of the units. There are sidewalks and trails throughout, which includes not just sidewalks on the roads, but trails that go through the open space, where the golf course had cart paths that could be saved because they're not in building areas. Those are all going to be converted to trails, which will all be interconnected for a total of almost 5 miles of internal trails and sidewalks combined that will connect the site and to the community as well. They will be open to the public. There are several parks planned in addition to a village green in the center of the 3 buildings in the mixed-use area. There will be 6 other parks indicated throughout the neighborhoods. So the new local law is designed for this site and will only apply to this site when it's met. It has standards in the local law for minimum lot area, development coverage, building height, setbacks, parking standards, roadway standards, open space, residential density, obviously, non-residential FAR, and other standards for stormwater, refuse, utility, landscaping, and so forth. As I described, the plan is proposed to be phased. And there's a phasing plan in the plan set that indicates 6 different building phases in terms of building out the number of units. The first phase has a total of, I think it's 244 units. It's the concentrated area in the lower left that has the village center plus some of the multi-family residential. So after as you know, your process that you set up for the PUD has the step where the law is accepted and mapped onto the site, and we will then be proceeding, if that occurs, to the planning board to do for them for a final PUD plan, which will be one phase at a time. And that concludes my overview of the site. I appreciate your time.
Before you go.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Supervisor, the clerk needs you to say the name of the firm, spell it, and spell
Okay.
your name, please,
Okay,
for the record.
would you like me to give you the part, or you want me to just say?
Just for the record, and
So for the record, Bonnie Von Olson, Bonolsen. The firm is Kinley Hill.
thank you, Ms. Reynolds.
Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Russo, anything else?
No, we welcome the public comment, now for public comments. As we shared, we have no objection to the extension of the comment period for purposes of receipt of the recommendations from the county and look forward to the comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Russo. Just to expand upon that, the county has asked for, I think as Ms. Neely alluded to, has asked for an extension of their time to submit their review. So we give consent to that. So we will give them that opportunity. So this time I'll open it up to the public. If anyone wishes to speak, yes, the lady in the back. And again, we'll ask you that you keep your comments to 3 minutes duration and start off with your name and address, please.
Good evening, my name is Jackie Wexler, I live in Bell Cottage, New York. First of all, I also do want to thank the entire board for your former action on resolution against the dumping of radioactive wastewater from Indian Nations, but that's a thank you. I'd like to say tonight that this is a super high density project. Just hearing right now, 647 units times, I don't know how many people in each of these units. This is how much water is going to be needed to fill the needs of so many people. What I'd like to start with is on January 1st, 2022, New York State Constitution was amended with the Green Amendment taking effect, which states, one must consider climate change in decision making. And it asks that a permit applicant may need to provide robust factual records showing that environmental conditions will not be compromised if the application is approved, even if the application does not trigger New York State's Environmental Quality Review Act. The area in question was looked at city zoning to account for permeable land in Rockland County aquifer system. If built on these recharge filters of Rockland's water will be impacted, one can expect runoff, loss of water, and flooding. There must be more than sufficient permeable land and permeable paving. Rockland law should reflect, your law should reflect that there should be no basements and that permeable surfaces will be protected. We have a finite water supply. I am concerned with the aquifer system and supply and demand for such a huge population in an area with too much density. I am a water user too, and I actually hardly use water. And I just can't imagine the amount of water here. You must look at the impacts to the potential of lack of water pressure and public's health and safety. Other impacts which are cumulative, traffic congestion on routes 306 and 45, and other traffic issues from so many projects throughout the county. Impacts to the DEC mapped wetlands on this site, emergency services. There are even more impacts that I'm saying here. And once again, we have a finite, not infinite water supply. Any development needs to be green, taking into account climate change, energy efficiencies, geothermal heating and cooling, solar energy, green roofs, permeable paving, green barrels, and green climate chaos-friendly landscaping. So what's really exciting here is this number is so much higher than what I seem to remember. This town made a comprehensive plan and then seemed to have rezoned it to accommodate developers. And what I'd like to say here is that, I can just pull this up, that, it sounds good, you have trails and there'll be some parks. This seems to be that maybe it can be precedent setting and maybe be used as a model for more projects like this to come. And Ramapo County cannot handle all of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before you leave, you must repeat your name, your actual address specifically for the clerk's office, and anybody else who comes up, please give us your name, your address, so that the clerk can write it down for the record. Thank you.
Okay, my full name is Jacqueline Drexler. I'm usually here with my twin sister Jocelyn, deeply sensitive, she's not here tonight. 116 Sierra Vista Lane, Valley Cottage, New York, 10989.
Thank you. We hope your sister as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Who would like to speak now? Yes, the gentleman in the front row.
My name is Robert Wall. I live at 123 Pomona Road. At the present time, we're not talking about this development. It's difficult for me to walk across the street from Pomona Road to my mailbox. Add another 1,300 cars, we're talking about 600 units, 2 cars per person, 1,300 cars, 50 buses, we're talking about children going to yeshiva. I'm all for development. I don't have a problem. But this is really beyond what it should be. I live in an R40 zone in Pomona, in Town of New Hampstead. It's an R80 zone. You want to build 125 homes? Want to build 200 homes? You know what? I don't have a problem with that. But I have a problem when you add 1,400 cars to a road that right now is dangerous. Forget about what's going to be in the future. And I'm not even considering the emergency vehicles, the construction vehicles. What about the sewer? What about water? I'm looking at the map, I see 2 entrances, one on Camp Hill Road, one on Summit Park Road, one on Pomona Road, let's say 3 entrances if there is such a thing. And I also understand, which I may be wrong, that they're planning some kind of retail establishment, with the zoning. So let's add more traffic to it. Pomona Road is not Route 59. We have, Route 59 is good enough where you have 2 lanes and then you have a 3rd lane so you can make your turns back and forth. So right now, it's dangerous now. What it's going to be in the future if you decide to go ahead with this is beyond my imagination. I can't even think about it. I don't know what the impact study is, what we have there. I'm sure that the builders have made some kind of program, for getting in and out. I'm sure the town, the board right here that I'm speaking to, I'm sure you've talked to the police. How many accidents have been on Pomona Road? Now, I bought my house in 1970. I mean, we're talking about a vast, I lived through the golf course. The golf course is okay. Cambridge is next door to me, okay with me. But I think I think this is just too ambitious for what the infrastructure is not going to support this kind of building. It's just not going to do it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Gordon Wren, 3 Rockingham Road, West Hills, New York. I'm here representing Kirsten Edwards American Legion Post, 1600. It's on Station Road, where we share a large portion of the property line on the eastern boundary of this project. And as Mr. Wall has expressed, We have serious concerns about the amount of traffic, not only for this project, but the other projects that have been considered in the area. And we're concerned that this development, when it's completed, would have a profound impact on the activities of the coast. And the coast members intend, if they're not happy with this, they intend to oppose it. They're going to fight it, and they're going to stand up and say, enough is enough. If they want to build 1 house on 2 acres, it'd be no problem. 1 house on an acre, maybe 3/4 of an acre. But this is too much, as Mr. Ball eloquently stated. I agree, we agree.
Hi.
I'm Nana Koch. I live at, are you starting?
You want
I would like to just say my name and then I'll
Okay,
get
I'll
3
wait.
minutes.
I'll wait
after
for
that.
you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Nana Koch. I
Only
live-
for you.
Thank you, Mona, I appreciate it. I live at 547 South Mountain Road, in the Ramapo section of UC. So I live on, as I said, South Mountain Road, and I use Route 45 and Pomona Road as a primary travel corridor. There are many issues I realize as a result of that. So the intersection of Route 45 and Pomona Road gets clogged up since it is so close to the Palisades Parkway and exit 12. Well, in the last meeting, I had the opportunity of speaking with the developer, and he said, don't worry. He said that there will be traffic lights. Well, traffic lights are great. You know, traffic light means that traffic is backed up for a time, but for all of the traffic that disperses to all the neighborhoods. And that is going to cause an enormous amount of congestion and a carbon footprint, to say the least. The other thing is, I understand that there might be catering facilities, and if so, there will be weddings and meetings. What does that mean about the traffic? I'm wondering whether the traffic studies were done during the Boulder Games, or the Boulder Ball Games, when Pomona Road is used very heavily. I'm also wondering, how have all of the rezoning activities in the village of New Hempstead factored into the traffic studies? The village of New Hempstead approved HUD zoning for the southwest corner of the intersection for approximately 50 acres, which, if developed similarly to Miller's Pond, could add more traffic to the intersection that Matterhorn development might also add. So I am asking for a presentation by whatever group has done traffic studies, so that they can answer questions in regards to all of the assumptions about how the additional traffic is going to be generated and dealt with beyond traffic lights. I'm also incredibly concerned about the community services and schools in particular. If there are 647 units and over 2,000 bedrooms, the population expectations for children will be very high, especially for the school district. As we know, the school district budget is a known disaster, and one of the biggest issues is the presumption regarding the cost of the direct private school children. The town of Ramapo has a responsibility to work with the school district to get more detailed breakdowns. Meals, books, special services are not insignificant. What percentage of students get special services? Have you asked that question? How much do special services cost? Have you asked that question? Let this development, which is huge, have schools so there is less traffic on the roads. Let this particular development have supermarkets so there is less traffic on the roads. Let this development, if it goes through, have health facilities so there is less traffic on this road. I do wish that we will have a meeting for people to ask questions and have answers, not just sit here and say and give you information about how they feel, but that you also have a responsibility of responding to us. And we would like answers. If you could please have those kinds of meetings. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Greg Dickerson. I live in Skyview Acres, Pomona, New York, 8 Dogwood Lane. As of August 8th, 1959, that's when my family moved here. I want to say to the developers and to the designers, that is very complicated. However, the studies that you've done on water, I have a well.
Mr. President, I'm just going to ask if you could just address the board. Talk about that.
I have a well. Huh? So, blame it on the short lady behind me. I have a well. Look at what's going to happen if my well goes south. As it is, it's been tested. And fortunately, the state of New York's going to give me an inline carbon filter for free. If I had to pay for that, that'd be a problem on my limited income. I understand why people want to move here. The ecology, the animals, the animal species, the greenery, the fresh air, the trees. I get it from where they are. I mean, I'm only like maybe 2 miles from where they are. Overall, we're less than 6 miles from the Appalachian Trail. So we're in some pretty green territory. Here's my problem. The 640 homes, was it, or 633? If you put 3 people in every home, that's 1,929 people. That's a lot, Pete. See the locks on my hair? I got that yesterday, waiting to get out of Skyview at 4:30 in the afternoon. When I moved here, I could be buck naked here, nobody would say a thing. But now, it is ridiculous. And people have the right to live where they want to live. And I don't want to sound callous, but the truth is, we got here first. We got here first. If the script was flipped around, I could understand it, and I may want to try to move in. But understanding where we are and why we want to be here, it should be just as important as the people who desire to live here with their families, to bring their kids. But this is wackadoodle. Basically, the designers and developers are putting 60 pounds of whatever in a 30-pound bag. It's not sustainable. It just isn't. So I'm hoping that we have more of these meetings, and like the speaker said previously, we need answers. It's enough that we're up here because we're concerned, but we're looking for answers. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
I also live in Skyview Acres. My name is Carol Golan. 31 Dogwood Lane.
Thank you.
I use Route 45 and Pomona Road to get to my work every day. Lately, I have to add half an hour onto my commute, because when I get to the top of Skyview, I cannot turn left and go to Pomona Road. Many times, that line that comes from Pomona Road all the way down to Mount Ivy is completely filled with cars. That's an amazing change from only a year or two ago. Well, even before. We didn't have that problem. That is within the last year that problem has occurred. Today, I was able to get to Pomona Road, but when I was trying to turn from Pomona Road to 306, I had a 5-minute wait to turn onto 306 on Pomona Road. So we have already a huge traffic problem. And you know, a lot of people are talking about the traffic problem because it's absolutely primary in terms of anybody being able to live here, that they have to be able to go to places and get to the places they need to get to. But I'm looking at this design and I'm thinking about the law that was made so that And it's common for planners to think about the idea of condensing the houses, but the reason to condense the houses is to preserve open land. And when I'm looking over there, I'm not seeing preserved open land. I'm seeing a very, very dense plan that moves all the way out to the edges of the property. I'm saying, where are all these trails gonna be? I can see the possibility of those. Over 600 units is so far above what should ever be considered. It's just overwhelmingly unbelievable that this board would even consider putting that many units into a population, into an area that's already very full of problems in terms of water. All the things that the other people talked about, I fully endorse, and I'm exactly the same as some of the other speakers. I want some answers. I want us to have meetings. I want us to be able to really wake up the people that the way they live now is not compatible with what's being planned here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we are very well.
Hi, my name is Helen Furman, 9 Westminster Way in Pomona. I live in Cambridge Heights. So I think I can speak for most of the 54 units in Cambridge Heights that we were totally against this project. We moved there to have a quality of life. This is not quality of life. Okay, this is high density. You're talking about 3,000-4,000 people with kids. What's going to happen to the neighborhood? We already see what's going on 306. Okay? I've been living here my whole life. This county has completely changed by the nonsense that you guys want to allow. We are going to fight it. We're not going to take it calmly. You are ruining our quality of life, and we're all totally against it. And who's moving into these rentals? How much are these rentals? Okay? We don't want riffraff here, I'm telling you right now, and maybe that's not politically correct. I'm going to say it anyway. We are going to fight this.
Yes, we need that.
We're gonna ask that everybody refrain from the comments, riffraff, or the disparaging, please, because we want to hear what everybody says, but please be kind to your neighbors as well.
My name is Mona Seltzer. I live 11 Westminster Way in Cambridge Heights. I come from the city projects with high density and lots and lots and lots of traffic. Just like we're experiencing on 202 and 306, only because there's too many people here. There's too many people who go into the supermarket. Now you're adding 640 times 7, because usually these are large families that come here. You're talking another 3,000 people, another 1,400 cars. Who's paying for the electricity? They have to dig up roads and bring more electricity. Who's paying for the water system? I'm serious, I want an answer. Am I paying for this? If the developer's coming in and he's gonna make money, I have to pay for the utilities? I don't wanna pay for the utilities. I have no reason to do that. That's number one. We need better roads. Have you been on the Pomona Road? It's all broken and it's narrow. You can't put another 1,300 cars there with children, and school buses, no place to go. Then another thing, who's gonna rent these houses? Is it Section 8? Did I spend $650,000 to buy a house and you live across the street from Section 8? When I was growing up, it used to be, if you can afford it, you live there. You can't afford it, you stay back in the projects. And that's where I stayed. You can't afford to live in Rockland County? Well, I'm really sorry. I don't want to live with Section 8 poor people.
Go to work. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Hold on for a minute, not that it's necessarily relevant to this application, to this process, but let me ask Mr. Rizzo, is there any intention for this to be Section 8 housing?
But to your point, it's not relevant.
It's not relevant. And how much does an apartment cost to rent?
Correct.
And inappropriate.
Correct.
Okay, how much does an apartment cost to rent?
We have no idea.
Okay, and how
It's irrelevant when the apartment costs to rent. We were looking at a number of other issues, other speakers have addressed environmental issues, traffic issues, and that's perfectly appropriate to address.
And again, I spent $650,000. I wanted my privacy, my open spaces, my green spaces. I didn't want to live in back-to-back traffic like this. This is a city project. This is terrible. This is not what we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars for to live with. I don't want to live with the construction vehicles. I don't want to live with 25 school buses every day at 8:30 blocking up the road. Because God willing, if this is what's going to go through, we're going to have thousands of children there. This is not what we bargained for. And as everyone says, we will fight this because this is not what we paid for. This is not what I pay real estate taxes for. I don't want to live in the projects anymore with the congestion and the noise and the garbage and the trucks and the buses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Bruce Levine, 9 Robin Road, Montebello, New York, 10901. Something was said to me which I didn't remember at all. Apparently I was involved in, which is that the county owns some parcels, I think adjacent to this property. It turns out that we did a land swap to help create a golf course, and guess who the sponsor was? The move for the resolution. It was me. And we liked the idea because this golf course is a form of open space and it's a form of recreation. And we don't want to lose those kinds of uses by this proposal. And that is of concern to us. And for those who don't have that information, I'm going to give information on the county lands. And I know there will be a lot of talk about a lot of different things, but I want to talk about one thing. At this time, I have a prepared statement which I will give to Mona, and she can part of the record. I'm asking that be done. So this constitutes the testimony of Bruce M. Levine, September 13th, 2023, to the town board on the proposed redevelopment on Pomona Road, that is a redevelopment of the golf course that used to exist on this site. My oral presentation may contain additions that are on the record. In 2019, I asked in writing that the town needs to conduct a thorough study of housing segregation in all of the town's zoning areas and also in the villages within the town. I also made the following recommendations, which I will reread tonight to fight housing segregation in this project. The town should impose mandated bedroom mixes in all of the proposed developments, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 bedroom rental condos and other forms of units of houses. The town needs to ascertain how many such units have been added in the last 20 years of each type. This project does this, but it does not guarantee that any of the units, even the smaller units, and there are some ones, and some twos, most of them are 3s, 4s, and 5s, will be actually available to the general public. And these units do not constitute true affordable housing pursuant to state laws where there are state or federal subsidies involved to guarantee that the units will be marketed and sold to all ethnic and religious groups in the town and in the county as a whole. The town must prohibit pre-selling. I say again, the town must prohibit pre-selling of any newly built units in the town of Ramapo, and specifically any units of housing built pursuant to this proposed development. Prior to the sale of any unit, the town must be given a a list of any units that will go for sale.
Mr. Levine, your time is up. I'm gonna ask you just to wrap it up quickly, please. We have the written statement, so we'll have that for the record.
All right, well, I'll just say that there's a tremendous need for affordable housing, and I believe that some of this needs to be true affordable housing, and at minimum, 10% of whatever you decide. So shrink it, 10% affordable, make it more livable, and whatever traffic study that says that this might work is just nonsense. So, you know.
Thank you, Mr. Levine. Yes, in the back.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Weber, 680 Court, Suffolk, New York, 10901. I live about an eighth of a mile from the golf course, and I lived in Suffolk now for 17 years, previously 19 years in Hempstead. Needless to say, from 1987, there's been a tremendous amount of change in our county, as I'm sure many of these people can attest. And I'm sure many of these people have moved from different locations to come to the Pomona area. And everyone can attest that once you get past Wesley Kosher Shopping location, you feel like you're coming into the woods. You can breathe, there's air, there are trees, there's less traffic, there's less lights. We pride ourselves on that. We love it there, we love our community. I know when we first moved in, there was issues with trees, and we were cutting down trees that were broken, but yet still people have removed trees. I know the golf course already does not have trees in many of the locations. The density of that location will definitely upset the local area. My son and daughter-in-law and children have recently purchased a home literally catty-corner to where I live and want to exist, and the communities and the congregations in our areas are growing by leaps and bounds. People want to be in our area. Pomona is very desirable right now, but that does not negate the fact that we have to live with this. We didn't come to Pomona to live in the city. We didn't come to Pomona to have Pomona Road be congested similar to what it is on Route 306 or Union Road or Route 59. We need to go down Union Road to where Viola is now, catty corner of Union Road and Viola, to see the monstrosities that have been built over there on an already dangerous, broken road where I fear my car is going to break every time I go down Union Road. It is unconscionable that that area has even been considered to be built. And I shudder to think that that kind of construction will be built yet again in our beautiful area of Pomona Road. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Yes, in the back.
Hello, my name is Lisa Kropala. I live on 29 Sky Meadow Road in Suffolk, New York. And I have just recently become familiar with this project that seems totally unsustainable. And my major concern is that there's no mention of schools. I mean, this is going to be a lot of kids, and we need to have some kind of plan. I mean, I live next to a yeshiva right now that moved in. 2 years now, no fire safety, no protocols, no clothing is in place. And with something like this, you're going to see hundreds and hundreds of children. And that's really important. We need to, it's not sustainable. Are they going to public school? Are they going to private school? This is like a main issue with any place in this county. That's basically it.
Thank you.
No.
Minutes.
Deborah Munis, 5 Roseville Road, on Superior half of Rosa Ramapo. You can start. The first thing I wanted to say is, I know you mentioned that you were extending the written comment time. You didn't actually mention when you're extending it to. One of our requests that we were putting in writing and we'll share is that you do hold the written comment period open for at least 1 week following the receipt of that GML, so that the public has an opportunity to read it and further comment. We're asking that the town make, ask the town planner to actually do a written review behalf of the town, on behalf of the residents, and help to explain to the town board and to the residents what the local law being proposed means and how it influences the development. This is important because I may be familiar with zoning code, but a lot of people aren't. And hidden within this proposed code are a lot of major departures from town zoning. And it makes it extremely difficult for people who are used to understanding like what's going on in the town to actually evaluate this and consider this in comparison to any other plan. This plan is a major departure from the last MU3 that we passed for the watchtower. And even there, they took what they were trying to do and they were able to represent it and present it to the board in net acre terms with bulk table entries, with use table entries, so that you can sort of compare it to our zoning and get a sense of the density and the rest. I did not find anything within the plans that analyzes the actual breakdown of how the lands are going to be used, and the calculations that are going on. And it's really important to understand, because this is a problem you have with the MU1 and the MU2 uses, where it's very unclear and the planning board does not have the ability to actually evaluate ratios and percentages and, you know, how you actually deduct the road uses and, you know, which parking lots get assigned to residential, which parking lots get assigned to commercial, which parking lot, you know, which roads are used by residential, which roads are used by commercial. Our zoning code that's been in place since the 1960s may not be the most perfect way to approach it, but I think it's important that we at least have a sense of how things compare from a zoning perspective, from a zoning law perspective, and for you to carry forward. I think it's incumbent upon you to actually do the calculations. It's something that John Lang used to talk about a lot in the past. You know, are you giving 5 units per acre for 17 acres of wetlands? I think you are. Are you giving 5 units an acre for, you know, the parkland swap that Bruce Levine was talking about? I think you are.
Wrap it up.
I am. So I'm going to submit some comments, and we're going to do this. I'll do them at length, and they'll be on point. I do want to suggest that you convey to the public tonight, you know, you leave this public hearing open, that you said some additional things, you be respectful of the Jewish holidays, to give people the opportunity to be with their families this next coming weeks, and still have an opportunity to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody speak at this time? Appears to be nobody. Let me just go, we have Mr. Gailey. Ben Gailey is our land use attorney on this matter. Mr. Gailey, is there anything that we need to address at this time, or any counsel you wish to give us?
I don't believe there's anything.
Mr. Gailey, you just bring the mic closer.
I don't believe there's anything at this point. I mentioned earlier, the board might consider continuing this public hearing to a different date. To do that, it requires a resolution by the board.
Very good. And as we mentioned in the beginning, we do not yet have the county's general municipal law review, so we're certainly not in a position to take any action tonight. I think at this time I would call for a motion to keep the public hearing open, continue it to October 25th, I believe, would be after the date that the GNO would be due. We have a meeting on that day. I think it's a regular board meeting night. October 25th. Let me ask, we don't know when the county will have the GNO, do we? We should be in before then. I think we'll be due mid-October. Very good.
Right.
Very good. So then at this time, we have a motion by Deputy Supervisor Charles to keep open and continue the public hearing at 7 p.m. October 25th, 2023. We'll accept written comments up until that date as well. And
Mr. Supervisor, you can add to that we will post the GML on the
we will
website.
post it, yes, we will post that as soon as we receive it, so the public will be able to review it and comment upon it at the next hearing date. Do we have a second? We have a second to the motion by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Carried by a vote of 4-0. Public hearing will be continued at 7 p.m. October 25th. Thank you, everybody who attended tonight and spoke. We move on to item C, which is Setting of a public hearing on the community block development grant and coronavirus aid-related economic securities act 2020. You don't have to wait, if people are going to leave, I'll wait a few minutes so that everyone quiets down.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to stay for the meeting, please do so, and if you wish to leave, please do so. Can you, Dan, can you go outside and let people see Ladies and gentlemen,
everybody, you're more than welcome to stay for the meeting or to go outside and talk. We just ask that, if you're going to talk, please leave so we can get in the meeting.
Mr. Hall, if you can take the comments outside, please, so we can continue the meeting. Thank you.
So again, we need to set a public hearing on the community block development grant and CARES Act, money. We have a proposed date of 7/27, 2 weeks from tonight, let's make it 7:01 p.m. What did I say? I said 7?
It's September 27th.
September 27th, if I said 7, it was
And actually, Mr. Supervisor, what this is a closeout of this project, and by law, we have to have a public hearing. All of these funds have been distributed, they've all been vetted by the CARES Act. This was not money for the town, but for these individuals.
So this is just the complete process.
We were safe harbor.
Very good. So let's have a hearing on the motion for something with, do it after the holidays.
This has to be done by this time, because it's subject to the specifics of the law.
So let's, we'll have to keep it on for 2 weeks from tonight then. September 27th at 7 p.m. Do we have a motion to that effect? Motion that Mr. West Charles second, Councilman Ross, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried by vote of 4-0. Go to item 3, acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting held August 23rd. Motion by Deputy Supervisor Charles, second Councilman Ross, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. Go to item 4, County Attorney's agenda, right name.
Yes, I made a settlement of a claim, sewer backup claim by Elder Lobster. We determined there was some liability. The settlement's for $3,077.
Any questions for this hearing? Motion, Deputy Supervisor Charles, to approve, second Councilman Ross, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. Item B.
Settlement litigation, Hyatt Ziegler and Sarah Moran Ziegler. This is the other sewer backup claim. It was scheduled for trial. It was some questions, but we were settling it for $15,000, which we think was a very good result in this case.
Very good. Motion, Deputy Supervisor Charles, to approve, second Councilman Ross, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. Item C.
Settlement of tax cert, Joyce and Garden aid. This is a decrease in the assessment from $80,000 to $51,60. And there is no refund due, as I don't think the taxes have been paid yet. It's been signed off by the assessor and the school district.
Motion to approve, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second Councilman Ross, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. And then we'll go on to item E.
Item D, acceptance of dedications, Golden Acre subdivision. This is really just the ministerial wrap-up on a subdivision, and we do have a memo in file from MJ Engineering recommending the acceptance.
Motion to approve, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second Councilman Ross, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. Thank you. Move on to item 5, purchase. Let me just also say, we have we did have a workshop at 6 p.m., so these items were discussed at the workshop in case the public was wondering why there's no discussion, we had that.
I think we had one more new item under the attorney.
Well, I was gonna do that under new business, but we'll get back to you on that other item.
Okay, the first item on the purchasing agenda, 5A, is the acceptance of bid for Remsen Avenue curb and sidewalk from Route 59 to Hilton Lane. We're asking you to accept the bid of DS Mayor Enterprises LLC in the amount of $998,500. We received a community block development grant for $200,000 of that. The balance of it will come from our highway sidewalk maintenance account.
Thank you, Ms. Martel.
Can I add just a couple of things? This was just sent over to us yesterday. It's an enormous amount of money. When we were talking about sidewalks, there is a plan that gets put in place that would be listing out the board of locations that we want to use sidewalks on. And then I guess make a decision on my own where we go. At a minimum, if we can just hold off on these, or I'm definitely not ready to vote on these.
All right, let me ask, is there a motion? You made a motion to approve.
Give an explanation, public. Workshop, I'm sorry. I came to myself, talking outside. And, we recommended that DSI Enterprises LLC was the best way to work.
It's not, the issue is not the budget, because I just want to identify what locations that we are. That was supposed to be.
Remsen's been a priority for a number of years. We've been looking at,
We had a process that we will agree to, that we would be coming to the board with all the locations. Whether they're the right people, I can have that conversation, but we're going to be doing a lot of sidewalks. I look forward to the sidewalks that we're going to be doing.
This is CDBG money.
But I think at this point, that there should be some kind of an open dialogue, some conversation of actually putting forth which locations we feel are priorities, as opposed to 24 hours beforehand, coming to $2.5 million worth of project right now and saying, they're the cheapest. They may be the cheapest, they may be the best.
No, Mr. Supervisor, these sidewalks were discussed for the last 4 years. This has gone through, these are not new projects.
Mr. Supervisor, I respectfully, I've been sitting in the board for quite some time. I just think sometime putting $2.5 million aside without discussion with clients,
we're having part of discussion. At this point, there is a motion pending. Is there a second on the motion? Second by Councilman Rossman.
I just want to clarify that this is the first one from Route 59 to Hilda in the amount of $1,157,500.
Correct. This is item A. Remsen Avenue from Route 59 to Hilda.
Correct.
So we have a motion, second, all in favor, aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. 3-0, one abstention.
Can I just ask council, is it possible to get the contracts from all the people prior sidewalk company, but we install the sidewalk? I'm sending the contract whenever it's ready. For the prior one, it means we would be for evaluation. Thank you.
And we go on to item B, which is the bid for sidewalks on Grove Street and Remsen Avenue intersection improvement. And Ms. Montel, do you want to discuss?
Yes, once again, the winner of that one was DS Meyer Enterprises. This was a formal bid, and we're asking you to accept it in the amount of $349,500.
And the location of this as well is Remsen from Route 59 to Hilda.
So this one is Grove. This is the intersection where Grove and Remsen, this is the intersection improvements, where we have that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I read the wrong one.
Community outreach center, and this is the improvements.
This is page 67 of the packet.
Correct.
Very good. We have a motion by Deputy Supervisor Charles to approve, second by Councilman Rossman, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 3-0, one abstention. And then we'll go to item C, which is the bid to go from Remsen from Hilda Lane to Mountain Avenue.
Correct, Mr. Supervisor, and the winner of that is DS Meyer Enterprises. As listed in the resolution, $998,500. And once again, we're getting community block development grant money for that as well.
Very good. We have a motion. Motion to approve, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second, Councilman Rossman, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstained, carried, 3-0, one abstention. And now move on to item D, acceptance of proposal for storage tank liability insurance.
As we know, Mr. Supervisor, there have been storage tanks. We have procured a storage tank liability coverage. The total amount will be $1,316.
Any questions? Motion to approve, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second, Councilman Rossman, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstained, carried, 4-0. Thank you. We'll go to item 6, boards and commissions. As you know, we have the Board of Assessment Review. Lloyd Cash has been a member on that board, and a valuable member for a number of years. His term is expiring at the end of this month. There's a request to reappoint him for an additional 5-year term that will expire September 30th, 2028. Motion to approve, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second, Councilman Rossman, all in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried, 4-0, and we thank you for and congratulate Mr. Cash. Move on to personnel, item 8.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. We've met with the Chief of Police. It seems appropriate to request a classification of a part-time radio dispatcher CAD for the police department in order to have some more flexibility. We're asking to establish that position.
Thank you. Spanish. Well, we have two. Non-Spanish and speaking in Spanish speaking. So the first one is non-Spanish speaking, Deputy Supervisor Charles. Was the motion, second by Councilman Rossman, all in favor, aye. Abstaining, opposed, carried 4-0. Now item B, which is to establish a Spanish.
But it's a full-time position.
Right, the first one was part-time.
Yes.
Second one is a full-time Spanish.
Correct.
Computer-aided dispatch, dispatcher.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to approve, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second, Councilman Rossman, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0. General matters, Town of Ramapo Pro Housing Resolution. Just to sum this up very briefly, as you know, Governor Hochul has recently announced a program that would incentivize municipalities throughout the state to battle the housing crisis by adding housing units. The program has a metric in which towns and other municipalities are expected to increase their housing stock approvals at the rate of 3% over their existing approved housing over 3 years. And there's a website that rates what every town is doing. We are certainly doing the best town in Rockland County, but we're not even at 3%. We don't even meet that metric yet. The significance of this, besides the need to provide more housing, is quite simply grant money will become available on a priority basis to municipalities that are moving forward with meeting the housing demand. So in addition to meeting that 3% metric, or 1% over the last year, another way to be eligible is by adopting a resolution in which the municipality commits to take steps to alleviate the housing crisis and pledge to be pro-housing. As you read the resolution, it lists a number of ways that we can do that or should be working to do that. So we have this resolution, and I'll call for a motion to approve it. Motion, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second, Councilman Rossman. All in favor, aye. Opposed, abstained, carried 4-0. And then is there a process by which we notify the state that we approve this?
Absolutely, and we'll put it in the record, and as you know, Mr. Supervisor, we spoke to the governor's office directly today. They were very happy that we were adopting this.
Very much so. Very good. We will move on to item B. Our assessor requests authorization to attend the 2023 New York State Assessors Association in October in the town of Saratoga, New York. Motion, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second, Councilman Rossman. All in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carries 4-0. Then we have item C, a request for a change of a street name. Currently, Councilor Drive, as we have in the email we received, that was a placeholder name, and they requested that it be called Downtown Drive. As you know, this is by the new town square, office building site and shopping center, also the Evergreen Shopping Center, which is now becoming known as Downtown Ramapo, Downtown Muncie, so it's an appropriate name. Motion, Deputy Supervisor, second, Councilman Rossman, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried, 4-0. Now, we have one item of new business I'd like to, we discussed in executive session in the workshop, and I'll briefly summarize it. We have a request by the Attorney's Office to authorize the commencement of an injunction on 2 buildings that are being used as schools without certificates of occupancy, located at numbers 4 and 5 Pine Road, in Incorporated Town Ramapo. Inspection was done recently, confirmed the violations there. So in the interest of safety and code enforcement, there is a request that we authorize an injunction and have the Attorney's Office file an order to show cause in the Supreme Court to seek the prohibition of the use. Motion.
No, but wait the rules.
Oh, thank you, appreciate that. As you know, because the business is not on the agenda, we would first need to waive our 24-hour rule. So I'll call for a motion to waive our 24-hour rule. Motion Deputy Supervisor, second Councilman Ross, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried by a vote of 4-0. Now the rule is waived. I'll go to the issue for the request authorizing the Attorney's Office to make an injunction. Motion Deputy Supervisor Charles, second Councilman Rossman, all in favor, aye. Opposed, abstaining, carried 4-0, so your office will commence with that. Thank you. This time, unless there's any other business from
Can I make a
board,
suggestion?
certainly.
Suggestion is that maybe we should close the meeting in honor of Michael's father. He was a hero of the world too.
That's a wonderful suggestion.
Going to Holidays.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for your loss. Loss of
Very,
the whole town.
very deeply sorry. We will do that. I just want to first state that, as you know, the high holidays begin this Friday night. And wishing everybody celebrating throughout the town, our board members, our staff, and our public, very happy and healthy New Year, and maybe at least a healthy one for all of us. And I will now request a unanimous motion to close this meeting in honor and memory of the late Kurt Rossman, a war-hero who came to the United States as a 13-year-old boy fleeing persecution in Nazi Germany. He came here on his own by ship from Europe to the United States, came with relatives, and when he was 20 years old, served in the United States Army in the Battle of Anzio, was shot by the Axis forces, received the Purple Heart for his service and his wound in the war. He was a member of the Greatest Generation. He led for his country, raised an outstanding family, and his children and grandchildren carried on the honor of his name, and he will live forever in their memories, and may his memory be a blessing. So let us close in his memory and in his honor. Motion, unanimous motion, seconded unanimously, and carried unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Very good night. Thank you.